Got a call, and it really made me wonder, made me think, like, man, am I really in the right spot? Are we really in the right spot?
Honestly, I was a little mad. How can we go from here to start making money for ourselves? Like, we can't just keep putting in the work and not making money.
Dude, I'm not where I need to be right now, you
Yeah.
know? Not making the income that I want. I'm honestly like digging myself in a hole to even to continue in this industry.
What's going on, guys? I want to hop on here because I didn't realize that I have exactly 30 days. Well, actually, 31 because it's October. 31 days left in my lease and rental for this room that I've been in for coming on a year now. And I want to hop on here because it's been a long year. A lot has happened, a lot has changed, and I've changed for the better. I've seen a lot of growth. And when I first started thinking about moving to San Diego, I didn't think I was actually going to do it. But you know what did motivate me was talking with the right people when I was in the Bay Area still, being able to talk that out with friends, with family, and it just made me realize, let me start that process to get out of my comfort zone, to move down here to San Diego. And I know all you people out there that are from San Diego are San Diego transplants. Okay, we'll call North County San Diego as not San Diego because I'm in Vista, Oceanside area. If you guys know where that is, people from San Diego won't call that San Diego because it's San Diego County. So, okay, I still made the move. All right, I'm calling it San Diego. All right. But what was responsible for me moving down here all came down to one book. And I'm going to name drop someone that really helped me realize and gave me the self growth that I needed to really think about location, where I want to do business, where I want to live, what type of business I want to do, my why am I doing this, and my purpose. So, to get back on track, I was discussing my 4 reasons why I moved down here before I got interrupted by a call. So I'm back on this again. So after I decided, deciding my 4 things of my 4 reasonings for moving down here to San Diego, SoCal, I'm just going to call it Southern California, SoCal. It all stemmed from one book, and I'm going to name drop this one person, Amir, up in the Bay. He's with Coldwell Banker, and I would be going to these caravan tours and all the networking real estate events. And he was the real reason that pushed me to this book. So let me get that. I'm going to show you the book inspired me. So this was the book that inspired me to move down here. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Honestly, it didn't get me far. I didn't go too far into the book. So the green marker is where I read up to. The blue is where my bookmark is, but the green mark is where I went back to every time to remind myself of why I moved down here. And I read that every morning for the first 6 to 8 months of moving down here. And it just kept me in the zone and reminded me what my purpose was for moving down here. So if it weren't for reading that book, I honestly wouldn't have moved down here. I wouldn't have gone past fear. I wouldn't have put myself in this uncomfortable situation to start from scratch. I only knew maybe a handful of people. I was really only closely connected with one of my best friends down here and a couple different family members. And that's it. That's all. That's everyone I knew. And so I had to start from scratch. A kid coming from the Bay like myself and coming into a new spot where you don't know anyone, only like for a couple people, except for a couple people, and really immersing yourself into the way of life to generate these experiences, then to generate business too, and to network, most importantly, because I wouldn't have gone to where I'm at today without the network I've built over the last year. And so it really is what you know is who you know. It's just like what everyone says. What you know is who you know, because your network is your prime way of business. So kind of starting off, when I first moved down here into this room, I actually didn't, I signed the lease sight unseen, which is crazy. Anyone watching this right now would think this guy's crazy. And it was pretty crazy. To me, I was like, shoot, I didn't have time to come down, do another drive down here to take a look at the place I'd be living in today. And there's a garbage truck as I'm talking about this. Bruh. I'm just going to wait from the past because I feel like the value of what I'm going to say is there. And I don't want to be interrupted. Where was I? Freaking garbage truck, dude. Anyway, where was I? Starting from the beginning, yeah. I signed the lease agreement on this room. I didn't even rent the whole house. I just wanted a place to eat and sleep and go to the bathroom. You know, that's all I wanted. And so just this room that I'm in, I signed the lease sight unseen. I only met one roommate over FaceTime, and that was it. And I only gave myself 4 weeks from the time I decided I wanted to move down here. I had already done a whole weekend where to solidify my decision of moving down here, I drove from the Bay Area down to San Diego, crashed at my buddy's place in Mission Valley, and also went to explore the area. And I went to the office that I wanted to perform and do business at in San Marcos. And after a review of all that, meeting some team members, I knew it was right to move down here. And I only gave myself 4 weeks. And if you see right here behind me, October 20th, 2024 of last year is when I officially moved into this place. And it's been a wild ride ever since. Honestly, it wouldn't be, how do I phrase this? It was a wild ride. It's been a wild ride. The last 12 months have been a wild ride. I've met so many people, got connected with a lot of different people in the industry or just in general, just making new friends. And even people that I know around here. I've driven all over Southern California, believe it or not, from all the way as far as Mexico, crossing the border, to as far north as, LA and Santa Clarita and meeting people out there. And I'm probably going to sound corny for saying this, but it's been a movie. It's been a movie for sure. And the reason why I say that is it almost feels like you're living in a movie. It doesn't feel like reality. And I guess what people think of as reality in a way is working a 9 to 5 job, going to the same place for work, spending 8 hours there, coming home, eating dinner, going to sleep. That's everyone's reality in America, at least. The reason why I say it feels like a movie is because I feel like the schedule that I have is very different than most people have. I get to wake up in the morning, and it's honestly almost a brand new day. It's a brand new day every time you wake up, but it's a very different type of day, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is when I wake up, I either have a chance to go for a run, do my morning routine, eat breakfast, or I get to wake up and go to a property to go manage, or go to a property I have listed, or go do some showings out wherever, or even go to networking events. Sometimes that's how my day starts, and it's very different, and it keeps me on my toes, and I'm learning something new every day. I'm not doing the same thing every day, which is kind of cool. Or sometimes I wake up, do my run, and I'm working from my room, my home here, which is kind of cool. But kind of to take you back and describe what I was thinking and how I was feeling before moving down here, I had convinced myself after making the visit one last time down here that this is the only spot that I'm able to thrive in. I can grow and actually perform and practice business. And once I convinced myself, after reading this book, once you convince yourself, you have the burning desire to do it, the uncomfort, the fear, all goes away. Because now you set this belief in your mind that you can do it. You convinced yourself in your mind. This is the most powerful thing you have on your body, is your brain. Once you've convinced yourself in your mind, in your brain, that doing the thing that you want to do is going to get you successful, is going to change your life, and is going to change your livelihood, everything changes from there. And once I convinced myself of that, it was that much easier to commit to the goal of moving down here. And I'm not even going to lie, the first 3 months of living here didn't feel real. I would wake up in the morning and be like, man, I really did move down here. I really did move from the Bay Area to Southern California to San Diego, which is a good 8 hours away from home. All my family's up in the Bay. And it took me months to finally get used to the way of life down here. It's very different. Now to kind of reflect on my journey down here, a lot has happened. The whole reason why I moved down here was for, the location and moving to the specific real estate team that I thought was going to make me successful when moving down here. And for me to leave that team and start my own thing, West Coast Property Bros, with my business partner Isaac, it was definitely not in my hand, in the deck of cards for me to do. I didn't think I was going to be doing that, and yet here I am. And so ever since April of us leaving our real estate team, actually let me rewind that a little bit. I remember when I first moved down here, I wanted to grind. I wanted to get on the phone. I wanted to learn how to talk to people on the phone because I convinced myself that was the only way to get business. Man, was I sadly mistaken. I wanted to do that. I wanted to go to networking events. I wanted to meet people, and most of all, I made it a side quest and mission to meet with Rich Summers and be by his side and get to know him, pick his brain, and build that business relationship. And when he reached out to me via Instagram, honestly, I was really excited. I was super stoked. I was like, damn, this guy actually reached out to me. The guy I was watching podcasts up in the Bay Area, and now moved down here, and he reached out to me. I was like, dang. But, everything happens for a reason. So ever since that day, and we hopped on the Zoom call, it changed my life forever. I started a podcast. If he didn't reach out and we didn't get on that Zoom call, I would have never started a podcast. It never crossed my mind. And so I made the investment. I made the decision to go and invest in Rich Summers' mastermind program for myself and for my business. And if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have had the network I've built. I wouldn't have been this confident speaking on camera to you guys right now and being this vulnerable, because opening up and telling you the real truth about my journey. I'm now 24. I moved down here a year ago. I was 23. A lot has changed. A lot has happened. But to tell you as a 24-year-old, if you're watching this, you can do it. Okay. It's been a year for me. I did it. I did the thing. I took the action, and I'm still here. Okay. I didn't die. Did finances suffer? Yes, they did. Was credit cards taken out? Yes, they were, so that I could support me and my livelihood and my business. So I'm not going to say everything is perfect, because nothing goes the way you've planned it to be. Nothing that I planned has happened, to be out of all honesty. You can only plan so much. But once you're down here and you commit to your goal, you have that burning desire to get it, do it. Take action. That's literally all I have to do is tell you to read this book. Any point during the book, maybe it's at the very beginning, maybe it's somewhere in the middle, maybe it's at the end. You don't actually realize it. But once you do, it takes over your mind. And I want you to know that. It took over mine. And it's a big reason why I moved down here. But to reflect on everything that has happened in this last year, let me read off the goals I set myself when I first moved into this room. And I'll tell you if I've achieved them or not. All right. I used to say this every morning. Now I don't. I don't know why, but I stopped doing it. I am on track to close 4 real estate escrows per month all the time. Did I eventually do that? If you combine property management and real estate transactions, yes, I did start achieving that. My big purpose, I want to own my first house by October 20th, 2025. Did I do that? No. But it also hasn't been October 20th yet. So technically, this was recorded on October 1st. I still have 20 days. A part of my big purpose, I'm making $363,000 gross income by October 20th, 2025. I'm nowhere near that, by the way. I'm beyond far away from that. And to think about it, I'm probably around, if I had to take a wild, rough guess, because I still have to calculate that, it's around 50,000 for the year. The other thing I've wrote down here was Ryan Serhant and Jordan Ferrone were going to be my inspiration and motivation I'd watch and listen to every morning. Not every day did I do it, but for most days I did. And unfortunately, shout out to Jordan Ferrone. He did stop his daily morning ice bucket cold plunge routine. He got to 1,000 days last month, and he ended it. And I was honestly heartbroken because I'd watch him every morning. And when I'd wake up 5, 6, 7 in the morning, that'd be my first thing I'd do is watch him do the same routine, do a cold plunge and say an inspirational quote. And it got me out of bed every morning. So I'm honestly a little heartbroken. So Jordan Ferrone, if you watch this, just know that. I'd love for you to restart that again. Or if it doesn't have to be cold plunges, maybe it's something different. So the other thing was I have here, Rich Summers and Thatch Nguyen were going to be my platforms to watch for learning, investment, and strategy. Did I uphold that? No. I'm going to be honest. I didn't watch their platforms enough. after moving down here. But I did get a lot of learning advice, wise words from different people I've met. So in a way, moving down here and building the network I have today, I was able to connect with the right people to teach me the right steps to go about my business, habits, motivation, what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing for my business, stuff like that. The last thing I have here of people are Carlton Dennis. He does tax strategy. And once in a while, I'd hop on his Instagram or YouTube and watch him, but I wasn't very consistent with that. Now, the last thing I have here is actually one of the title of Rich Summers's podcast episodes. And it was a recorded mastermind call with Wes Watson. Shout out to Wes Watson. He was great during that mastermind meetup as a guest. And honestly, I took a lot away from that meeting, and is the reason why I post what I post today. 80% reality TV show is what he calls it, of your life. 20% is just the advertisement, your business, what you do. So the last thing I have in here was said by the man, the myth, the legend, Wes Watson. Shout out to him. A man's purpose is to become the best version of himself and give it to the world. So I've been living by that ever since he hopped on Rich Summers' mastermind call for the 7-figure creator. And I've been living by that. It inspired me so much, I had to write it and read it every day. So shout out to you, man. And so, you achieve some, you don't achieve some. And it's not going to work out the way you planned it to be, is what I'm trying to say. What have I done? Now, reflecting on this past year, what have I really done? Well, I could tell you the first 2 weeks since moving down here, I was doing my cold calls and it led to a deal. I closed before the end of last year. Wow, great. 2 weeks in, found these guys, my clients. Shout out to Zoe and oh, he's gonna hate me. Why am I blanking on his name? Give me 1 second. You can cut this out or not. Give me 1 second. Ethan. Okay, it came to my mind. Ethan and Zoe were my first clients moving down here, and I just want to express the amount of gratitude to meeting them over the phone and them just trusting me over a couple conversations over the phone and one in-person meetup to be able to help them achieve buying their first house as 22-year-olds. Crazy. As 22-year-olds, being able to buy your first house. I commend you for that. That is awesome. If you're watching this, I hope that you know how grateful I am. And honestly, I'm very thankful for you doing and trusting me and doing business with me, because it means a whole lot. And for someone that's not from the area, and you being able to trust me goes a long way. But then after that, I had this long stalemate. There was months and months of nothing, appointments being set and not being met by the other client. And the amount of dials I was doing to pick up the phone, trying to talk to people is hard. People don't talk to people over the phone just with strangers nowadays. Shoot, the new iPhone update has Apple screening now. So how are you able to do cold calls when you have that as a barrier to play? So you have to be creative of business outreach, especially for people in sales, like in the sales position I'm in. It's difficult. It's challenging. It's difficult. But does it work? Absolutely. It works for people. But, it comes a point in time when you're going a few months, nothing happens, no business. Finances are struggling. It doesn't work out. What do you do? What do you do at that point, right? I think this is the next step us in our generation, whether you're Gen Z or millennial, struggle with. What if it doesn't work out, And me thinking about it, it didn't work out. What do you do when it doesn't work out? You pivot, you shift. And for me, I remember telling Isaac this. I'm a hardworking guy. I'm not going to actually, even if the results don't come, I still believe it's still somehow going to work out. So I was still doing my thing. But for Isaac to take me out of that and talk to me about how the system wasn't working for him, and he hasn't seen a deal since moving down here. When I moved down here, it was the same time he joined the team. So me and him joined the team at the same time. Crazy how I've only known this guy for a year, and we started a business together. So go figure. But if it weren't for him pulling me out of the system I was in and actually talking to me about from a third person point of view, that it just wasn't working for us anymore. I wouldn't have started West Coast Property Bros today with him. And funny enough, if you haven't seen our episode with just me and him about us starting West Coast Property Bros, we weren't even the ones that came up with the name. My mentor, Cuberto Hernandez III, he's the one that actually coined the term. And when he was still the partner lender and we were still a part of our last team. And then since then, he left the team as the partner. And since then, me and Isaac left the team and started our own thing. And it's been a totally different game, totally different way of life. So when realizing it wasn't serving me anymore and it wasn't boosting my livelihood in any way, that was the moment we decided to leave the team. And, the whole thing about leaving the team, I definitely would say, out of all honesty, was a bit of an awkward transition. It wasn't anything that they did, and it wasn't, how do I say this? I don't want to bash them because that's not the person I am. But, not every company, I'm going to make this analogy. Not every sport that you do is meant for everyone. If you're a baseball player that's playing football, you're probably not going to be the best player on that football team. You might as well do something that's best for you. Go to baseball. If you really love baseball, and why are you doing football? Or, what if you are meant to be a football player? You're on the football team. Your best position to do is linebacker, but they put you at safety. What are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? So when you realize after committing to the game for 90, 120 days or so and nothing comes out of it, you got to question to yourself if what you're doing is the right thing. And so after 120 days of nothing, Isaac, I give props to Isaac. He questioned if the industry was still right for him. And so when we talked about it and we met certain people that solidified our decision to leave, that's what we did. I'm not going to say it was the best interaction because honestly, it left them feeling awkward. And you know what? For anything that happened, I'm going to say it right now. Apologize for any awkwardness that it left with our last team. But ever since moving on, it honestly was for the better. Now, fast forwarding to starting our business, West Coast Property Bros. We started it not knowing how to formulate an LLC, but we figured it out. We had to create our own logo, the logo that you see today. We got into getting our loan officer license. Isaac has it. I'll be taking my test tomorrow. And a lot has changed ever since starting the company. And it led to us going to Michigan, being able to go to the UWM, United Wholesale Mortgage headquarters in Michigan. And that led to us to our adventures to New York, meeting different people out there, connecting, getting to know the lifestyle of New York was insane. And so when I moved down here, did I think I was going to go to Michigan or New York? No. I thought I was going to be in San Diego and just enjoying the beach life, which I do. Don't get me wrong. And I came back a different person for sure. Man, did I think I was going to start a business, West Coast Property Bros? No, I didn't think I was. Now I feel like I'm just blabbing on on camera for no reason. But I feel like you guys need to see the thought process I was going through to keep it raw, keep it real, because not everyone makes that decision. And it took me some time to realize making the move from where you're comfortable at to somewhere brand new where you don't know and you're uncomfortable at. Not a lot of people do that. And so, you know what? I'll give myself a pat on the back for doing it. But, I'm not done. It's just the beginning. Just like what Rich says, it's just the beginning. And we're going to keep going hard. We're going to keep going strong. We're not done yet. What do we have now? We have a listing out in Lancaster right now. We closed on the loan side on Isaac, who's taking care of that. 3 different loans funded. We're representing a buyer right now. We're in escrow on another listing right now. I'm trying to think what else. There's 50 properties under management, and there's one in Dana Strand Road, in Dana Point, that I'm taking sole responsibility of. It's a 4-plex, which is crazy. And come to think of it, did I think I was going to get into property management, get in the loans, and also real estate? No. So if you have a dream, go get it. Take action. But I'm not saying go into it blindfolded. I didn't do that. I took some time still to look at my finances, take a calculated risk, and expect that things weren't going to go right, because they aren't. And once you have all compiled together, I guarantee you're going to do good things. You're going to do great things. You're going to surpass 98% of people out there. And so I'm not saying that you'll get everything done in a year, because everything that I've listed here and told you, I didn't achieve in a year, but it's about not giving up after taking action and being consistent to what you said you're going to do, and persisting through all the negative, all the no's, all the closed doors, all the FU phone calls you get, because it will lead to that yes. And after everyone that I've met, the 23 episodes I've posted so far, 24 is posting this Friday, and 25 is posting next week. Out of all the people I've invited as guests on my podcast, I can tell you that's what I've learned. Never give up, take action, take a calculated risk, and be consistent and persistent in what you do. That's all I gotta say. What's the future now? What's next for Tristan and West Coast Property Bros? Well, let's just talk about me for a second. Because my lease is up in 30 days, I'm solely gonna miss this place. It's been quite the ride, and it's making me overwhelmed thinking about the moving process. Just thinking about it now. We're gonna move to San Clemente. We're gonna move to San Clemente into a property that we manage with the help of our mentor and our team, be able to move there and establish that as our new headquarters outside of the office. And it's going to be really close to the beach, which is going to be sweet. Do I know how it's going to happen and how it's going to work? No. But ever since I moved down here, I know you kind of just got to go with the flow. You can plan so much, but you just got to go with the flow. So I don't know what's going to happen, what journey I'm going to take, but I do know the guy upstairs that I put all my faith and trust into him, and he's gotten me here so far. So, if you're listening to me now, thank you. And honestly, that's all I got to say hopping on here. It's been quite the journey, man. I don't know what else to say, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to get that off my chest and just be super real. Just want to be super real and super raw with you guys. So I can already anticipating this not really getting any views, but of all the viewers who do watch this 35 or 30 or so minutes of me rambling on about my story moving down here, I applaud you for making it this far to the end. And I hope you were able to take away something from this. And so that's all I intend on this video, is just to be an example, an inspiration for you, and hopefully motivates you to do your thing. Doesn't have to be real estate or business. Just do your thing. Just go out there and do your thing. That's all I wish of you to do. Take action, do your thing. All right. So with that being said, that's it, guys. That's how the first year went, and there's many more to come. Dose.